Hello everyone, this is Chris from O'Craig here, and today I'm going to tell you about MIDI Surf. This is MIDI Surf. It is a MIDI controller that is highly customizable. Let's change this kick. It's easy to program, it's easy to set up, it's incredibly flexible, and best of all, it's free. It's totally free now. I've been working on this for the past year. It's open source and it's available if you go to midisurf.app. All the information that you need is down in the link in the description. So when you go to that link, you'll be greeted with this splash page, and on here you've got a bit of information. You can go and download the source code. It's completely open source. You can go and change it and make pull requests and tinker about with it as much as you like. It's written in a really amazing programming language called Elm. There's some more information as well about version control and other things, as well as this tutorial. One thing I'll point out right now is that if you're running an iOS device and if you're having any problems with it, you might want to check out this post that's in here, because there's some extra hoops you need to jump through for Apple devices. If we dismiss this screen, you'll see the actual application itself, and you can see that there's three main areas. There is the controller, which has the buttons to control it, including things like transport, MIDI CC, which you can have where it will only activate when you're holding down a button, or on release. It's very customizable like this. Sending just MIDI CC messages, all sorts of things here. You can even do much more complex controllers like this, which have isomorphic keyboard on them, X, Y, faders, pitch bend, normal faders, and there's much more than this. And it's actually very easy to make your own custom controller. That's the real strength of MIDI Surf. You can make your own controller and you can share it with the community. Before we get started making our own controller, if you press this connection button, you get a list of the MIDI devices that are connected. It's receiving both input and output from the OPZ here. If your device doesn't pop up here, you make sure you have it connected with a USB. This could be with a MIDI hub that's going actually to MIDI DIN out and then into some devices, or directly to USB, or it could be virtual MIDI to access your DAW. But just check the device is there. If it's not, press refresh, that'll probably fix it. So let's make our own new controller. So if we press the pencil icon here, we can press plus, and then we'll make a new page. And you can either make a completely new page, you can load one from storage on your browser, or import one from a file. And I'll show you how to export it to a file later on. Let's just make one called example, and then we'll click add page. And if we exit out, that you can see there that we've got our new page example here. If we press the pencil button again, we can edit this one. So if we click on here, it's currently got just empty space, and we can change that to something else. Let's just make it a note. And let's pick this one. We'll go to extra large, we'll call it woo. And you can see when I was doing that, it was changing. It was changing, it's listening for MIDI, and it's changing the settings here. But you can do this manually as well, it's not a problem. So we can easily make a little controller that will make it go woo. So let's make it a little bit more complex than this. How about we make two buttons this time, side by side. So if we click to edit this, we can click one of these container types, either column or row. And these basically can hold, they're containers that can hold more buttons. They can hold more containers as well, so you can get multiple layers of this. Let's make two buttons, or two spaces. We're going to make, we're going to use this here. This is the fill fraction. Well, let's leave it like that just now. Then we'll edit this one. We're going to put a column in this one, and we're going to add two things to that. And we go OK. And you can see here that there's three sections now, right? So we've got a row, which has got this and this in it. And then we've got a column in this side of the row. So we've got elements here. And you could make a row in here and a row in here and have four buttons there if you like. You can split it up however much you want. You can also change how much of the space it takes up. So you can see we've got a space here and a column with two items. And if we go 2 for this, what that does is the fill fraction. So this will take up 2/3 of the space, and this will take 1/3 up. So before it was 1 and 1, so it's half, it's even. But if we do 2 and 1, then it's 2/3 and 1/3. So this is good. We can make more space over here for whatever we're going to do. Let's put whoa in that. Right, we'll do the same again. We might make it, let's make it yellow this time, and click OK. Double check that works. And then we can do something here. How about we do a CC value, and why don't we call this reverse? Or, yeah, let's call it reverse. And then we'll just leave it, we'll put it extra large again. And then we want to modify this one. So if we modify this, there's a parameter here. I'm modifying the parameter on the synth, and you can see here that it's changing all of the information about this CC. And I'm going to turn it all the way up to 127, and then click OK. And this one, I'm going to do the same parameter again, but I'm going to put it all the way down to 0. So reverse, and then we'll say forward for this one. We'll make this extra large, and we'll make it, what we're going to do, blue. Okay, so we click OK, then we exit out of there. Now, what will happen if we press this reverse, and then we press forward again, then reverse. So you can send single CC messages on press. You can actually, we could simplify this, right? By replacing this, instead of with 2 CC values, we could replace it with something called a command. And then let's call it forward and reverse. And what we can do is we can make this a momentary switch like we did on the first page. So let's make it extra large. We'll make this one red. And then we'll say on press, we're going to set this MIDI CC value, and we don't need to set it. We can pick from all the items here, including sysx. But we can pick from all the different types of MIDI messages. But we don't need to do that, because if we just modify the parameter, let's put it all the way up for this and click add. And then we've got that on press. And then if we go to the release, and you can add multiple messages if you want, right? You can set it to all sorts of different things. Then we'll put all the way back down for this. And then on release, it'll turn this back to here. We click OK, exit that. So you can have a button that will send MIDI on press and on release. And it doesn't need to be the same signal, it could be something totally different. You can also change this and make it something called a sequence instead, where it will cycle between a couple of different things. So let's just call it F and R again. And then we'll do the same, we'll make it green this time. And then we'll add a message, and we'll say, let's make it, the first one is going to be this on 0, so not reversed. Let's add that, and then add another message where it's all the way up, 127, add, and click OK. The difference with this one is it cycles through. So it'll just cycle through, so it's like a toggle switch. Let's make a new controller called chords. So we'll go to the plus again, and we're going to call it chords. And we're going to go add page. And then here, we're going to press on our space, and we're going to go to chord. And I'll change to the Arpeggiator track, right? And let's clear all the notes that are inside it. So I've added 3 notes. I just pressed them on my device that I'm controlling, and it's put all of the different MIDI values that I need in it. And I'm going to say this is C, and it's C major, but we'll just do that for simplicity. We'll make it white. Exit. So I've got quite a funky arpeggiator pattern on this, but hopefully you can see that it is playing this chord when I do this. So this is really nice, and you could, of course, you don't need to do it like that. You can make up, for example, you could have a row, and we'll add 3 spaces, and we'll say, let's say that we do chord, and then, so then we've got our C major again, and then we'll go, so this is C, and then we'll say, let's go for the 4 chord. If we go to this here, they just make nice triads. That's F, and we will make that yellow. And then this one, we'll go to the dominant. Oops, need to put chord first. And that's G, and we'll make it blue. Okay, so now we've got So we've got a 1, 4, 5 chord progression there, right, that we've made pretty easily. There's also some little tools for making chords. And I'll show you this with the sort of, these are the keyboard modes. So let's edit this. And if we say chord keyboard, we can say, let's make it for the arpeggiator. We'll say it's channel 7 with a velocity of 100. We're going to keep it in C. This is the note, this is the key that it should be. And then you've got the scale, and you can choose from all sorts of different scales. And you've got things like major, minor, and then you've got Ionian, which is also the major, and Aeolian, which is the natural minor as well. But you've got the different modal forms as well. You've got lots of funky, different, weird sounding chords. Let's just, again, let's keep it on major. And we're going to keep triads, so that's 3-note chords. And we're going to say that it's on, let's say that we'll start on octave number 3, and we're going to have 3 rows. And if we X out, then we've got, so let's start up here. Where are we? Oh, sorry. So there's our 1, 4, 5 again, but we've got all sorts of other chords in here, right? We've got suspended chords. And diminished chords. And you might have some augmented chords as well, depending on what scale you're using. And you can delete out, say that you don't want, let's say that we don't want these sus4 chords. We can edit this and we can say, let's get rid of them here. We press this little button, and then if we exit out, we've got rid of that column that had the sus4 chords in it. We've got a bit more space. Maybe you have a prejudice against them or something, I don't know. Or you just need more space for performing, which is probably a more reasonable solution. And just to follow on from this, we've also got this scale mode, and we can let's do this in channel 6 for the lead. Again, velocity of 100. We'll keep it in C. We keep it. Let's do Dorian instead. I like Dorian. And then we will do octave 3, and we'll say again there's 3 octaves. So you can get, it's just a scale here, right? And it's in the Dorian mode. And you can see what's happened here. It's got this flattened third degree, right? The median is flattened down. So it gives you, it tells you what each of the keys are, whether it's sharp or flat. Oh yeah, sorry, and it's got a flattened 7th as well. So you can make up controllers with all sorts of different scales in whatever key that you need, and then you can play around with them. Let's make another example with some faders this time. And we're going to delete this. Click delete, and we've got rid of our chords page. And if we go plus here, let's call it faders. And we click new, and then let's make a row. And we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 faders on it. And again, it's dead straightforward to do this. You press fader, and we can say, I'm going to make this the arpeggiator parameter 1, which is this is the MIDI CC for it. We click OK. We can do the same again. Click fader, twiddle the knob that you want, or manually type it in here. And again, I don't need to put a label in here, so I'm not going to bother putting in a label this time. And then fader, and then do this. Twiddle, fader, and twiddle the one you want, 740, 127. Now, there's a really nice thing that you can, well, let's just do that. Let's put this in 64. So now this fader will go between a value of 0 and 64, so it'll only be half of the parameter, so you put all the way up. And let's exit out. Now you can see, here we've got our faders. Okay, let's play a chord on this. So that's parameter 1 and 2, and this should be the filter and the resonance. Sounds quite nice. we can combine some of them together. Let's say that we want to combine let's remove these two and add another one in, and let's combine this into a single controller for the resonance and the filter. So we can go XY fader, and then we've got param X, so this is on the X axis, and let's just twiddle the fader knob, and you can see 730 127, and then OK. Oh, let's modify this one as well. Twiddle the parameter for the Y controller, and then you go like this, and X, and then you can see here. Let's play another chord here. So you can, again, you can control two parameters at once, and actually it's really nice to explore the synth engines and understand what your device is doing, what the different parameters do when you use them in combination. And some of them just naturally go together, like filter and resonance. I also like having volume and panel. I'll show you a little example of that later on. So these are the fader types. The last one I suppose I should mention as well is pitch bend. And so I'm going to set this for channel 7, and we'll be able to hear. And it is exactly as you would expect, I imagine. Okay, so that is faders. So one other controller, one other helper function, one constructor that we've not talked about is the isomorphic keyboard here. And we'll see it, and let's have a look at it in action over in this synth page. This is called an isomorphic keyboard. The really cool thing about it is, basically the shape of any scale, that was a major scale there, right? If you change to a different root note, then the shape always stays the same. So same with like major chord. This will be a major chord. This will be a major chord. And again, this will always be a minor chord if you do this shape. The colors here, this is C, then it's the black and white notes, basically the light grey and the dark grey. So dark greys are the black notes, and the light grey are the white notes. So we can combine all of these things together. Let's just show you a quick example of using the isomorphic keyboard tool. So let's go to, let's make a new page, and let's call it ISO. And we click Add Page. We click on this here, and then we go to Isomorphic Keyboard. And we can set all sorts of things for this. So let's make a bass isomorphic keyboard. So that would be on the OPZ is channel 5. We're going to make it velocity, let's make it velocity 127. The first note we're going to set as, and then the number of rows we're going to have, we'll have maybe 8 rows with an offset. Now this is how the rows are offset one to one another, and you can try different things. I had an offset of 5 there, and I really like that, but you can also try 3 or different types of offset. Let's do 5, and then the length of this, let's do 18 keys in a row. I think that should be good. Right, so there we go, we've got our isomorphic keyboard, and it's lowest up here and highest up here. And I'll just explain, like, this is the offset I was talking about. So this note is this note, and it's sort of offset by 5 along this way. So it's been like slid up or slid down by 5 so you can get more notes. And again, this one is also the same. Consequence of that is that you can play this chord here, or so whatever is most convenient for you, you can play at that time. Now on this example here, right, where I combine together all these different faders and the isomorphic keyboard, you'll notice that there's one thing that I've not talked about, which is this dotted line around here with a little title, and this is called a module. Now we can just make a module like this one here, sorry, blank. This is just an empty module. And if we go into that, we can click on it and see this little pencil up here. It's a module, and we've gave it some text to display, right? But we can also just wrap an existing thing in a module. And there's a couple of advantages to them. I'll show you them in a second, right? So let's go edit this. We're going to edit this type. We're going to say that it is a module, but we're not going to use new because that would just overwrite it. Let's click that. We click that, and then, oh, it's got rid of everything, but we can just press undo. And then if we go back here and we go to module, and this time we click wrap, and it'll take this current module we've got selected that we're editing, and it'll wrap it inside another module. And we can say ISO, let's just call it ISO again. And there we go, we've got our isomorphic keyboard. So it's nice, it sort of separates it out, and that's good. You can do zones of your controllers. But there's another big advantage of it, If we go up to save, and I've not talked about the save functions yet, but one of the save functions is module. So if we go to that, we'll see all of the modules we have, and I can click ISO and click save. Right, so now we've saved this. And let's go into our example, or into our blank one again, and let's edit inside this thing here. Right, we're going to edit this one. We're going to click module, and we're going to go load. And we can see ISO that we've got here. You can delete it if you don't want it anymore. But if we do that, then you can see. Now we've filled it in, right, with this module that we have saved. And you can save as many modules as you like and combine them together for future use. Let's talk about a little bit of the other functionality, including saving. So if we go over, let's say, for example, we have something that we really like. Let's say it's this, our Woo controller, right? We can press save up here and we can go to page. And so we can go to example, we can click that and we can click save. So that's the simplest way to do it. Now, let's delete this. I don't like it anymore. I don't like my Woo controller. Let's delete it. And it's gone. Well, that's not great, right? How do I get it back? Well, we can just add a new page. But this time we click load and we should see example here. Now, a cool thing about this is that you can change the channel of, now this affects everything on the controller. You can change the channel of every button on the controller at the same time. So let's say that I don't want it to be Woo anymore. Let's change it to the snare, which is channel 2. So we'll set the channel to 2. And now we'll exit this. And now it's also called example. But you can see that unlike the other one that we had, the default one, which we can also, let's add that one too so we can compare. And we'll load this example and we'll keep it as default settings and let's rename it to Woo so that we know what it is. And update. So if we exit out of, and if we go in this one, so you can see that we've got the snare controlling one. If we edit it, we can see which channel it's on. It's on channel 2 there, as we expected, right? So we can take one controller, like for example, this synth controller, which is set up for channel 6. Let's save it, press the save button, go to our little synth controller, click save, and let's make another one for channel 7 instead. Let's load, let's take our synth, and let's set it for channel 7, and then it'll work. One other thing that you can do is you can export them. So you don't need to save it just to the browser memory. You can also click, so for example, let's say with faders, I want to export it to a file, and it's going to be called MIDI Surf.json, and it's going in my downloads folder, so I'll click save. And then I'm going to delete faders here, delete. So now it's gone. But again, you know, maybe I'm on a new device now, I want to load this up. So I'm going to press plus, and then I'm going to click import, and I'm going to import page, and then MIDI Surf, I've already made one before, so it's called .1. I select that file, and then I load it up, and then we've got our faders back. You can export these, and you can share these files directly, and in fact, the files themselves are human readable. It's JSON, the file format, so you can manually edit them if you want. That's actually quite a quick way if you wanted to build a very complex controller, and you can share those files. But there's an even nicer way, I think, an even nicer way to share them, which is say that you've got a little controller that you want to share. You can press the share button, and what it'll do is it takes the data structure that represents this. What it does is it encodes it into a URL. If I click copy, and let's close it, and then I'm going to delete this one again, right? And then this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and paste this here, right? So it's pasted that URL that I copied, enter it. When I load this up this time, it'll click, do you want to import your faders to your page? And you click add faders, right? And then it starts off in edit mode. We can close that off. And then we've got our faders back. And that's only from the URL, right? So the URL is up here. And you can see that we've got this long page up here, which has the actual data encoded in it. And you can share it, which is nice. And then the other thing that's related to that is this little sort of packages box, which has all the presets. Now I've made a few for the OPZ. And Um, there's some other contributors who have made things, and you can download these and use them, or you don't even download them, you just follow the link. So let's say, for example, we want FX for the OPZ. So here's one here, add page. Let's exit out of there. And this will manipulate all the FX. And so, for example, what are we on? We're on the ARP, and we can check. There, this is delay, so we're on FX1, which happens to be delay at the moment. And we can do the wet dry mix in this one. Of course, you can make these out of anything that you like. You could save these little modules and use them for something else yourself, or you can directly go in and modify them if you want. So there's lots of flexibility about making your own controllers and being able to share them and whatnot. So that is MIDI Surf. If you like it, if you find it useful, then please let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what works. Tell me what doesn't work. If you find a bug, you can go to the GitHub page here and make an issue, and I'll try and fix it. Or if you have a feature request, I can try and accommodate you. Other than that, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in music technology and programming, music technology programming, and let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to know. And if you'd like to find out how it works programmatically, then please leave a comment down below, and I'll see if I can get some time to do that.